Hello Shade Seekers, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Solera replacement roller, fabric, and awning for your camper. Now these are going to be available in different measurements, all the way from 10 foot up to 21 foot, and also available in a variety of colors. Now we're going to walk you through some of the standout features and also how to measure to make sure that you get the proper one, and we're going to walk you through a typical installation as well. So let's get started. So as you probably know, having an awning on your camper is great because it really does give you a whole lot of real estate. You can kind of move the party from inside the camper to the outside, and that way everyone has space, and it's going to protect you from that sun beating down in the summer months or a sprinkling occurring maybe in spring. Either way, you get to hang out with all your friends underneath the cover of the awning. Now over time, that sun can kind of break this down, and being out in the elements, it can actually bend the rollers, or you can just get a mold buildup. Whatever it may be, you may want to replace that. Well, without having to replace the entire system, you're actually able to do that with our replacement roller, awning, and fabric. When upgrading your awning, you can actually choose from a variety of different colors, including a solid white, a solid black, or you also have different fade colors. Here we have our blue fade. There's also other fade available as well. Now the wind's kind of playing havoc here on our awning today, but you can see this little overhang. That's going to be really nice for when it rains. It's actually going to have that rain running off rather than channeling back. Now also it does give you a little bit of extra shade, as that sun can be at a certain angle. That might block that out a little bit better. The fabric used on the Solera, it really sets it apart from other competitors. Reason being, the fabric is anti-scuff, anti-mildew, and it holds up generally better than other ones on the market. Now, it's also cold crack protected to negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit, so even if you're storing it over winter, it should hold up for a long time. Many times when these are retracted back, if there's any moisture, that's not going to really be able to breathe out. So sometimes that mold and kind of just brown spots will start to form on this, while having that anti-mildew buildup is going to keep this looking nice for a long time. Now keep in mind that the replacement roller and fabric is not going to actually include the arms, so you need to make sure that you already have your existing arms, and you can actually replace just the fabric, but sometimes that can actually be kind of tricky, as it does want to roll up. This is pretty drop in and go, and it replaces your old actual system. Now why would you replace the roller? Well, our customer that came in today, you'll see in our install portion, actually had a dip in the roller, causing it to kind of be uneven as it extends and retracts. So here we have it actually retracted all the way back, and you can see it looks great. It follows the roof line very well. It's got a nice white color, and it looks just fresh having that new awning up there. So now as we actually extend, you can see it's a nice smooth operation, and it's going to give you that coverage within a minute or so of rolling out. So now with this out, the sun's not blinding me, and I can actually hang out here and enjoy the outdoor space. The only thing missing is some friends, some chairs, and some cold drinks. Getting a new roller and fabric already attached is going to make that installation a nice and quick, easy one for you to do. The first step that you're going to want to do is measuring your actual arms from center to center. Now it is going to differentiate from the actual measured size of the roll itself of the awning. So first, get your measurement of your arms, and you are going to need an extra set of hands for a lot of the steps here, as well as a few ladders, because we're going to be working at height and also having something that's extremely long. It's going to be nice to have that extra set of hands to help you get it in place. You put that center. So with our measuring tape center to center on the arms, we are right at 18 foot. Now this is what you're actually going to be using when you place your order on the roll itself. So the roll is going to be a little bit shorter than that overall 18, but you're going to be going off the center point of your arms when placing that order. So once you have your arms extended out a little bit, you're going to want to make sure that they're supported and not going to actually open up anymore. And I feel like the best way to do that here is we're going to run some zip ties just around where our strut is here, and that's just going to kind of keep this bound up, and that way it's not going to move up. So grab some long zip ties and go ahead and secure those up. Maybe you have a bungee cord or something along those lines. It's pretty much just going to be kind of our fail-safe here to kind of keep that from falling out. So you can see that is supported. Go ahead and do the other side as well. So now we're going to want to go ahead and take our covers off, and these are attached just by some Phillips head screws, so we'll go ahead and remove those. Now make sure that you hold on to all your hardware, as you're going to need that for reinstallation. Now on the inside, you're going to see that there are some slots, and you can put a small flathead in there, but I was able to kind of just press that plastic to separate the clips. Have a few of them there, and then your face should come off. And this back one should also just kind of slide up here. Now make sure you are holding on to that hardware that was in those holes there. Now we can go ahead and repeat that same process on the other side. So now we're going to be taking off this square head screw here, and that just attaches it to this arm. So we're going to be taking that out. Now you're going to want to be careful because it might not be supported. So I actually have an extra set of hands here in the middle, and that way if it does start to move, we at least have that supported weight wise. So let's go ahead and take this out. Once you have your screw out, we're going to go ahead and repeat that process on the other side. So now you're going to want to look here in the channel. There's going to be a screw that's run through there, and that's just going to kind of keep this from moving around. Go ahead, ours is a Phillips head. Go ahead and remove that, and there's going to be another one on the other side as well. So now you're going to want to have a few extra sets of hands with ladders, because we're going to be sliding this out. So make sure that you have ample space to go either forward or back. Either way, we're going to be taking this roll out, and first step is going to be separating it here. Now be careful because this can be tensioned. This should just slide out like that. This one doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of tension on it, which is good. You may have to kind of wiggle it, but then you should have it come out. So make sure you're separated from the other side, and then you can kind of work this down. So we're going to be feeding our new one back in just kind of the opposite way that we took it out. But you can see here, this channel has a nice bend here, and that's going to just make it easier to actually fit that piece into the slide. So if yours doesn't have that, you might want to just grab just a pair of pliers and kind of bend that down just to make that channel a little bit easier to load that in when you have it supported. So now orientation wise, you're going to want to make sure that the actual part that we're sliding in, it's flat there and curling around in. That way it's not going to trap stuff as it rolls up. And I'm going to just peel these off as we go, one by one. So just get that black tube fed into there. And you're going to want to have someone here kind of following this to make sure that it's going in without catching that metal. And then as you're working along, you're going to have some support down there and just feed it in. So while feeding it down, might help Kevin down there. He already put his in the slot. We're gonna do the same thing, so that way it's supported. And you're gonna see this white hole needs to align with the hole here on the actual arms. Now you may have to kind of wiggle this back and forth because it is slotted, so you want that to line up properly. And part of that might be accomplished by pushing that arm back just a little. And then once you get those holes aligned, we'll be able to put our hardware back in. And then we'll go ahead and do the same on the other side. Now we're going to want to put our screws back in that channel to hold it in place, but we also want to make sure that it's actually centered up. So I'm going to just measure here from our bracket to the end of our canvas here, and that's going to be 3.5 inches. So I'm going to double check the other side, make sure that it's the same, and then we can get that actually screwed in. So I've gone ahead and got these centered up. So now I'm going to go ahead and put our self-tappers back in where we had them. Now we'll be putting our caps back on. Now these are actually side specific. You're gonna have this cut out here and also this hole here, and that's gonna be on the drive side. So you can see this little nut here, that's gonna fit into that hole, and then your back side here should align pretty easily. So go ahead, you can get this installed. This should slide in. And this should cap around it. Now let's go ahead and we'll take our support zip ties off, and we're going to actually test this to make sure that it's working properly. So it looks pretty great extended. The real test is going to be when we roll it back up. We're going to be looking for any seams, and that could be just the tension of it being slightly off from one side to the other. So as you roll it up, you might want to just have an extra set of eyes, keeping look to make sure nothing's binding up. So now we can see we have our arms fully retracted, and you're going to see that there's no weird tension going on. A lot of times you'll see wrinkles if they are offset, and if that's the case, you're going to want to adjust it kind of side to side and finding that sweet spot. That way it's not going to have a crease down it, and it's also not going to have odd tension on either side of the arms. Having this balanced out, looks like we have our install done correctly. And that was a look and installation of the Solera replacement awning, roller, and fabric. Thanks for watching.